Sixers are officially at the NBA All-Star break after a 30-24 record through 54 games. We still have a decent amount of questions for this group. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers podcast, a run of 3 p.m. shows from here until next Wednesday. Here as we are live from the Xfinity Lounge along with Daryl. I'm Devon Bree, President of Basketball Ops. All of you, whoa, sell the team, Drew says, already in the chat.
Coming
we'll get
in
to that,
hot.
Drew. Yes, we'll get to that a little bit later. We are presented by Bet365, whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. 3 games on tap in the NBA, final 3 games of the first half of the NBA season before the break gets underway. And make sure with Bet365 you use your 30% profit boost at Bet365 if you are putting a ticket in on tonight's game. So we have a ton to get to, and we have our news and notes later. We have our normal reads that we have for you, of course, and we have a ton of questions to discuss here with this basketball team at 30-24. Because beginning of the season, I said to you, hey, Sixer fans, 30-24 through 54, how you feeling? You'll probably feel pretty good, all things considered, right? But we watched the games too, so with it, you have your things that you pick through each and every day as a game is played, moves are made or not made, and you have your issues with your basketball team. So they're still sitting in 6th place by their lonesome, and they were just blown out badly last night by the New York Knicks. And where are the Sixers now on a 2-game losing streak? Portland, New York, going into the All-Star break, back on the floor next Thursday hosting the Atlanta Hawks. So Bree has a number of questions that we do have here for everybody on the show. As always, please answer, react in the chat as we always do together here on
Well, we already
PHLY
have a bunch
Sixers
of reactions
podcast.
to the effect of sell the team. We have one from, who was this that said, it was Tim Bunk 2 who says, send Nick Nurse and Morey to The Hague to be tried for war crimes. So
vibes are high.
The mood of the fan base, very positive at the moment.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right.
Which maybe that means there's a perfect place to start this conversation, because I believe one of our questions is related to vibes and is related to general mood of the crowd.
And so let's start with the vibes question, Bree. Number 1, first question. I remember this was posted last night after we'll show the video, and I looked at the comments, Kyle, underneath it, and one of them said, let it go, he's moved on. Well, when he does what he has done so far in the Oklahoma City Thunder uniform, people are going to react. So the question is, did the McCain trade kill the vibes for the 76ers? They're 1-3, I believe it is, after he was traded, because he did not play with the Lakers, Portland, or the Knicks. So he 1-3. They beat the Phoenix Suns, and they wore the headbands. And then in one of those games, I still say in solidarity, of course, for Jared McCain. But Kyle, we start there, as Bree will also share the video of what he did last night in about 90 seconds, having a pretty good game. Your thoughts?
8 points in 75 seconds, I believe, was the exact, which is pretty good.
Pretty good.
If you score points at that clip, that normally helps your basketball team.
And I'll say this too. Somebody said to me last night, after trading McCain, you think the vibes are gone? So, Kyle, did they kill the vibes by trading Jared McCain with how they feel about that particular person and player?
So, intellectually, logically, the answer is no. And the reason I would say that is because they won the game on Saturday against Phoenix, and the vibes were pretty good when they had closer to a full roster. Joel Embiid's available. The Lakers game was a weird one. I don't think that was about vibes. That was about some structural stuff, et cetera, et cetera. I think the 2 big losses they just had were more about not having guys available, no PG, no Joel Embiid, end of the road trip, heading into the All-Star break, all the internal, external factors that we talked about. So the logical me says no. Now, on the other hand, I will say this. I know there are some people in the locker room who reacted to this trade deadline not positively, and I know that their eyes were turned toward ownership. Maybe you guys can put 2 and 2 together as to who I might be talking about there. So whatever they say publicly, whatever message is coming out of the team, just know that there was at least a little bit of internal discord over this. And while that might not be a thing that lingers, it might just be one of those, like, in the heat of the moment, Jared finds out that he's getting traded on the team bus. They're on the way to the arena. And, he says his goodbyes to Maxey. Maxey was, emotional, talking about he was his first kind of like pupil as a mentor. And so there are a lot of emotions attached to this. These guys will move on. I think they're all professionals. I think that they care enough about the task at hand. And it certainly doesn't help that Jared has played well during his opening stretch here in Oklahoma City. So I'm splitting the difference a little bit. I think they will get to a point with a week off and Joel comes back and PG eventually comes back where things reset a little bit. But I think certainly these guys were like, what the hell, man? Like, part of the reason I was forceful about nothing happening at the deadline after they traded McCain is because you set yourself up for this type of situation on the inside, on the outside, with the way fans have responded to this. You get your doors blown off in the 2 games going into the All-Star break, and anger is high. We're hearing those sell the team messages. We're hearing that from people that they want Daryl and Nick Nurse out of here. And, some of those are
with 28
long-standing
games left.
things.
We got a super chat last night where they wanted us to dox Josh Harris, if you want to example,
yeah.
which we didn't do, to be clear. Yeah.
So the vibes externally, bad. The vibes internally, I think, are fine-ish and salvageable, but there were people who I know were unhappy with how everything went down. And I've heard from a lot of people around the league too, whether it's media, people from other teams, etc. And it's a mixed reaction. There's some people who are like, hey, the return they got was great. They needed to make that trade. He wasn't playing. He was the 4th guard. There's also a contingent, and this is not just the Sixers. There weren't a lot of role players who are helpful role players that moved at the deadline. Go through the Najee Marshalls, the Sadiq Bays, Jay Huff in Indiana, like go down the list of potential guys that might have helped this team that just didn't move at all. And you say, okay, that's understandable. And then the Knicks come to Philadelphia and Jose Alvarado hits 8 threes in a game. They got him for nothing. So it's hard to spin to everybody that there was not a single move you could have made, a single player that could have been brought in that might have helped this team even a little bit between now and the end of the regular season. So my answer to the question is no, but it's based on progress from where they're at right now, which is a little bit of a low point for the vibes.
Yeah. And it's, it's funny because like after the Phoenix game, vibes were pretty high. You're on a 3-1 on your road trip. You're looking pretty good. I think there's a handful of things that have influenced the feeling around the team. There is trading Jared McCain. There is not doing anything at the deadline to make your team better. And probably mostly there is Paul George taking a banned substance and being out 25 games and having one of your most important defensive players and most important two-way players out at the same time that Joel Embiid is missing 2 games because of flare-ups with his knee. And I think all of those have influenced the vibes. Now, did they kill the vibes? I think a lot of things unless they end up hurting you on the court long-term, most of these tend to be pretty temporary. And like if they start playing good basketball when they come back from the break, like the vibes will improve and we will move on. Is McCain going to be the McCain trade going to hurt you long term? If not, then this is probably temporary. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like the feeling around the team is worse than it was a week ago. What day is it? Yeah, a
week ago, exactly.
8 days ago. He got traded the day before. Doesn't matter. This is nitpicking.
The deadline was a week ago.
So I think it's true that they have hurt the vibes. I think it could be temporary if they play good basketball. But, it is, I think the Paul George and the lack of additions at the deadline will probably end up being bigger factors.
Yeah, culmination of all of those things. But the Jared McCain part is the fact that Maxey said what he said, what Kyle pointed out, he was emotional immediately. All the tributes and messages that were sent immediately after the deal went down with Jared McCain being sent out from every single player on that team, where it was universal that it happened that way. And so you can't ignore something like that. And even when you hear the jokes about Kyle Lowry in the beginning where Jared McCain is always in his face and he's TikToking and he's doing all these things and this old vet is like, get out of my face and all. But when it's gone, though, you miss it. And you understand where that good feeling that he brought to the locker room was all in there between those guys when they talk about being, it's just us. Yes, we have the coaches. Yes, we have the fans. But it means something as a teammate when you lose somebody that you really care about. And they're professionals. They have to get over it. They have 28 games left, press the playoffs if they're going to get there, that they're going to have to move on from it and watch him from afar, root for him from afar. But they have a job to do. But you cannot ignore the fact that they felt a certain way about Jared McCain. He's not there. And that is for the immediate, from what Derek said it 8 days ago to where we are right now, and to when they get back on the floor a week from today against the Atlanta Hawks, that is something that, of course, is real. But then you do bring in, as Derek pointed out, Lost Sleep TV said it in the chat about PG messed up the vibes. Well, they did win a couple of games, too. When Paul George went down, they made sure that they played pretty well. They looked all right. We know that they miss him, and they're going to miss him through the month of March before he's eligible to come back against the Bulls on the 25th. That is a big part of it. Mm-hmm. They need the break. Maybe the vibes were a part of the break, too, that Maxey has played way too many minutes. VJ Edgecombe, you can clearly see he's tired as well. Yes. They need the break. And when Joel Embiid misses the last 2 games, you hope that he would at least play in either Portland or New York, since it's the final one. He's not as part of the All-Star game, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. And he's going to be resting. You would have liked to have seen him on the floor, too. So not saying that they are now looking over their shoulders, Joel Embiid going to be here, playing or not, and saving us like we have seen over the last few years, worrying about that, because as we talked about earlier in the week when Kyle pointed out, he's largely been on the floor. He hasn't missed any time. The Jared McCain thing is real. So people can ignore it, but these guys are in the locker room, and they see it. And you also, with social media, they tell their own story a lot, and you can tell by their own stories that they miss that kid, and maybe it has affected them. And before anybody says, well, if you shouldn't be playing, you shouldn't be a professional if you let something like that happen. There's a brotherhood. That's a brotherhood, and they've built something, and they like that kid. They were devastated when he got injured a year ago. They saw him rehab, they saw him fight to come back, and they saw him back out there on the floor, and they saw him struggling again this year, trying to break through it and encouraging him to give him that encouragement that he's going to find his shot again, that he's going to find his former self again when he's out there on the floor. And that's why I do think that it means something. So when the chat, or not even necessarily the chat, but when we put up a video of that clip with him scoring those 8 points in that 75 seconds, and someone says, move on. Well, they're going to move on, but right now it's still pretty fresh 8 days later that he was moved, and they don't have an extra guard. We talked about it. Would you sign this player and that player as a guard? And when you bring up OKC and him going there, run through their guards. Jalen Williams, Shea, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Joe, Wiggins, and Kason Wallace. That's 6 guards in front of him. And while all of them are not healthy right now, they might find time for him on the floor, because if he's making shots, they're gonna find an opportunity for him to soak up some minutes on that basketball team. And he landed in a really good spot.
Well, I'm gonna get a little too real here for a second, more than likely. You guys ever been in a situation at work where there's someone that you think is really likable, good at their job, super professional, shows up and does what they need to do every day, and then unexpectedly is no longer with your company anymore?
I have.
You ever feel like the emotion got to you a little bit in those types of situations? You think that might apply to a professional sports team where not only are they together at the games and in practices, but they're traveling on the road, where I told you guys what Tyrese Maxey said recently before they went on the West Coast road trip is these are things that can define your group and define your season, where the traveling party is all you have when you're on the road for a little bit. Obviously now it's different, where you got cell phones and easy access to talk to people, see people if you want to, but it doesn't replace having people with you physically, being there every single day. And that's why he made a big point of like the guys on this roster, the coaching staff, and the small group that comes with us on the road, they're all we have for the next 10, 12 days we're on the road. And so we got to come together, fight on this trip, bring our defense, do all the things that we need to do. So to ignore that when you lose somebody on that trip to ignore the fact that that could have some real human emotion attached to it is silly. It doesn't mean it's permanent, and I don't think it is. I do think it's a bigger factor, as you said, Devon. Paul, Joel missing games. Quentin obviously missed a couple too to end this trip. Like those are real big contributors to who they are as a team. But to ignore that the Jared thing was a thing and could be a thing that lingers a little bit is just ignoring human nature. That's not how these things work.
Yep, absolutely. So Jared McCain, watch him in OKC and see what he does there. See what the Sixers do going forward as far as their rotation now that they're missing Jared McCain. All right, when we come back, we have 4 more questions throughout the show. We'll get to news and notes a little bit later. Next up, we'll leave you on the cliffhanger here and find out what we're asking next. But maybe it has something to do with some size in the front court potentially through the Sixers. Well, we'll talk about it when we get back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. All right, I was heading into work this morning because we had an early morning meeting, and I said, you know what? I forgot to grab something out of the house. No worries. Right to Wawa I go. It's right near my home, and it's an institution here in Philadelphia. So if you ever want to go from 5 to 11 a.m., you make sure you hit up Wawa for the great offer, the $5 deal where you can get any Sizzly, any size hot or iced coffee, and a hash brown, all for $5 at Wawa. So for me, I was starving. You know what I needed? I needed my Sizzly, sausage and cheese on a biscuit. Good to go. I'm good there. French vanilla coffee and the hash brown. Now I'm ready to go, sit in this meeting and feel pretty good. I'm ready to discuss some things, all because I was able to go to the great place that is Wawa. Once again, available only in the morning from 5 to 11 a.m. If your morning calls for something sweet, then try the new caramel and chocolate craze flavors as well. No need to overthink breakfast. Just grab, go, and get on with your day. Gotta have a Wawa. Let's tell you about our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 90 million users worldwide. I'm one of them. You should be too. They have 780 events live each year, streamed right there on the app. You get an early payout in the NBA and the NHL. It's a great place to place a ticket on any of these games that you like. Look, it's a great place, great time. New customers, if you want to jump on in and you haven't done so as of yet for the second half of the basketball season, baseball is about to get underway, second half of the NHL. Well, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when you sign up using code PHLY365. All you have to do is deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and you're cooking. Win or lose, $200 credited to your account. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast, Derek, Kyle, Devon, Bree, all of you. And just wanted to make sure that when I was running out some of the names there, we did have one OKC guard that I missed, and Zach pointed out AJ Mitchell also has not played in a bit. He's absolutely right. Big time MIP candidate, and
He's been very good this year.
He was really, really good before he went down with the injury. So yes, that's 7 guards in front of Jared McCain. So we'll see how that all plays out. All right, let's get to the next question here for the 5 questions that we have after the All-Star break. Let's go with the big mans. The big mans here.
Big mans.
Yeah. Do they have a playoff caliber center behind Joel Embiid?
I was going to say, like any center? I think I can answer that one.
Behind Joel Embiid, Adem, Bona, Andre
Vince
Drummond.
is in the chat. He might throw Embiid in that group too. But
So
this is
Charles
about
Bassey?
Bona and Drummond.
Yeah, a little Charles
I guess
Bassey.
Charles Bassey for now.
Derek, do they have a worthy backup playoff caliber center?
no.
Okay.
Thank you for your analysis.
I mean, look, I think it's pretty clear, right? Like Bona, you don't trust his decision making. You don't trust his rebounding. Drummond, he can't move well enough to play in the center. And in the playoffs, like teams are much better at picking apart those weaknesses and deficiencies. And the fact that Drummond can't really move and also thinks he's like, you know, an incredible outlet passer, that really drove me nuts last night.
Man.
I almost threw my laptop so many times.
Yeah. One wasn't his fault. The first one.
It still wasn't a good pass. It
wasn't.
might not have been his fault, but the one to Barlow, man,
That
you
one
weren't
was
even
bad.
close.
That was bad.
But they will pick him apart defensively. So no, like if I had to choose between the two, it's going to be a little bit matchup dependent. Like last night, you start Bona so you can bring Drummond off the bench to match up with the rebounding Robinson. I think that's going to play a part of it. I would still err on the side of Bona just because like he can luck into doing something useful, whereas Drummond, I just don't think there's any way he's going to be able to meet the demands of a playoff environment. But it's not good. No, you don't trust any of them.
So I'll bring something up here that I feel like we've talked about it in different forms, but not necessarily the stats behind it. As a rate, this is the worst defensive rebounding season that Andre Drummond has had since he was a 20-year-old second-year player. Think about that. That's his main job, defensive rebound. Like offensively, doing a little bit better on the offensive glass this year, but as a rate statistic, this is the worst Andre Drummond rebounding season since he was 20 years old in 2013-14. That's a huge problem because that is the one thing that you're supposed to look at him and you say, I know he has trouble defending in space. I know there are some matchups that he's just not going to work well against. And I do give him credit. I think early in the season, he showed more mobility, more ability to play up high and recover. In fact, I think there have been times when he's been better at that than Bona, despite the fact that Bona is a much, much better athlete for different reasons he struggles there. But Andre has not rebounded the ball well enough. And you could get away with that if it was a pretty good rebounding team around him because he's still grabbing close to 30% of all available defensive rebounds, which is good. It's just not good enough to carry this team that has so many weaknesses in that department, that is playing 3 guards at a time a lot of times, that is playing a small-ish backcourt for a good amount of the games. So that's a big problem. But then you look at Adem and you say, like one game, he might have a bunch of highlight plays, a block at the rim, he's a great lob target, et cetera, et cetera. And the next game, or like last night, he has 3 fouls in the first half, and the third one is a 90-foot foul that the rebound was already secured by the other team where he's just slapping at somebody for absolutely no reason. And it's just not a style or type of young player that you can trust in any kind of high leverage environment. Like, yeah, maybe every other game or every few games in a playoff series, you just get good Adem and the activity is there. He's only got to give you 10, 15 minutes and you get through it. Mm-hmm. But on a night-to-night basis, I don't think they have a single guy behind Embiid that you really trust. And that's a problem for a team that we know is going to have to manage Embiid down the stretch based on how his knee is feeling. Now the right knee is flared up again to the point that he missed the final 2 games going into the All-Star break. It isn't the left knee. It's kind of the only thing that you feel okay about. That doesn't make it great. It's still a knee. You do need those to be a good basketball player. But I just don't have much confidence in either Bona or Drummond at this point.
I'm almost defaulting back to where I was in the Paul Reed versus DeAndre Jordan debate, where it's like, I don't trust Paul Reed in his decision-making, but one of them can't physically do it. The other one probably won't do it. I'll at least lean towards the probably won't help you rather than the can't help you.
So I'm with you guys. I lean Bona at this point. It was funny, too, because Andre Drummond got off to a bang-up start at the beginning of the season where he was really, really good, and Bona wasn't, outside of that one Washington game where he helped them come back and win with those 5 blocks in the final few minutes. But I lean Bona right now, and the issue that I have is we're still talking about the same issues, though, that we've discussed with both players. Even as good as Drummond was early on, you could see it starting to tail off, and it has tailed off badly for him right now. And at Adem Bona, where he still has those flashes of a few good plays within the game, it's still the hands, still some silly fouls, and he's just not trustworthy while he's out there on the floor. And then that leads me to asking you guys, while we lean Bona, outside of Embiid playing his 35 minutes that he's going to play in the playoffs or even more, the other part is based on situationally and whoever the matchup is in any given playoff series, we've discussed Barlow for 5 minutes, Walker in the past for 5 minutes, just to steal Embiid some time off the floor to get a breather. If things are not that good and they don't address it, are we talking about Nick Nurse probably having to, hey, Dominic, can you just give me a couple of minutes and maybe we just give you a little help and send you some help where you're not on an island by yourself? But the problem with that is we saw him the other day. I can't remember the game, but he had to, it was Cat last night.
Mm-hmm.
He had to, Karl Anthony Towns had him on the block, and he just spun really fast towards the baseline. Kyle was down your end of the floor in front of the media seating, and he spun real fast in the baseline, and Dominic Barlow had no shot. And this wasn't even a power move. This was a finesse move where he has his forearm in his lower back like he's supposed to, but he couldn't recover quickly enough for that really, really good move from an all-NBA type center. And that's where the problem is also going to run. But when we talk about the effort and the instincts and to know what to do, he is going to give you that. The issue is that he's giving up a lot of weight with most of these bigs.
Yeah. So then that's where, to me, you cross into more of the schematic stuff. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have a whole, I think, question related to the scheme. But I do think as we talk about Adem, for example, and playing Barlow as a small ball center, that's where I think you need to go into, instead of playing the show too high and force the ball out of like Brunson's hand or Donovan Mitchell or Luka, or whoever the big time threat is on the other team. It's where you have to probably make peace with maybe you're just a switch everything team at that point. And there are real drawbacks to that. But I think one of the things that I've seen with Adem is that I don't trust him in those show and recover situations. And I'd rather say, I know he's going to pick up fouls as a switch guy, but I would rather take my chances that he's such a good athlete, put him out there on whoever it is, and you can funnel him a little bit, say, hey, I keep your hands back, no fouls. Like, I don't care if somebody shoots over you, but then you can funnel guys into traffic. You can funnel guys toward a Barlow, or if it's Barlow who's out there, you funnel them into, you know, the Kelly Oubre's and your Paul Georges, your wing size guys down there. I just think they have shown that when they play that style, they just don't have the personnel to execute the constant trap and recover at a high enough level against good teams. And when it's really going bad, you see what you saw against the Knicks on Wednesday night, which is just back cut, and there is nobody home as a potential option. So obviously, it's different when Joel's available and you play heavy drop and he's almost always going to be there. There are things you concede there. I don't know that I want Adem Bona playing drop coverage, but we're going to get to that. That's a different offshoot of this. But I think the scheme is connected to the players here. Like, if these are the players you got, you might have to look at some tweaks to make them viable in a playoff type setting.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of Broom questions there in the chat there, Derek.
Okay. Look, I just don't think Broom's an NBA player. I get you're searching for an answer. I would honestly convert Bassie, which I don't think they're going to do, but I would convert Bassie before I would try to rely on Janai Broom. I think he has more of a chance of actually helping you. I don't want to say in the playoffs, because nobody should be playing in the playoffs. None of these guys should be playing in the playoffs. Janai Broom, I do not believe is the answer.
That's why when that Utah and Grizzlies trade went down, and you see that Jock Landale went in that trade and then shifted to Atlanta, it's a little frustrating because
Available for nothing.
Exactly. And look, he has his nights where he goes up, like his first game, and he started in the Hawks game, came off the bench. Got up, 24, had a double-double, he's hitting threes and all. You're not asking him to do that every night. You're just asking him to be a viable option at the 5 to give Joel Embiid some minutes. But if he can give you some of those things, that's a big bonus for this basketball team. And unfortunately, none of these players that we're talking of have any of that they can bring to the team.
And I will say, the only way I will defend the team on this, I know that a front court option who could shoot is something that was on their mind at the trade deadline. I know that they explored options on that front. Now, that being said, you had the ability to select Reynaud on draft night.
20 and 19.
I think it was a contractual thing, is probably the reason that didn't get done, and they end up taking Broom instead, who took the deal that he was willing to take. But you can say, hey,
who cares if you get him on the deal you want if you can't play basketball?
Listen, I've said as much, written as much many times. I'm in 100% agreement with you. But at the point is, at the end of the day, you can want a certain player, and I don't even think there was like across the board agreement that is a type of guy that they need or want on this roster. At the end of the day, you didn't get anything done.
Yeah.
And so now the focus is on, okay, who do you have? What type of matchups are they going to play against? Who are they viable against? And you look at playoff teams, and it's like, if Andre Drummond was viable against the Knicks, he would look viable against the Knicks. He's not. Mitchell Robinson, Drummond came off the bench specifically because, hey, that's a matchup thing. Nurse said that flat out last night, that Drummond versus Robinson is what they're, and Mitchell Robinson is handing him his behind. Like, he's got no chance. He's the younger, bigger guy. That's how the game goes. And if he's not viable against them, we know that Adem Bona, who can't rebound worth anything, is not stopping that either. So you don't have an equalizer against a guy like that, and that's a big problem.
The Renault thing reminds me of the Pasechniks all those years ago. When the big selling point is like, oh, he'll play overseas. We don't have to put him on the roster. I don't know. Maybe it's just not the best use of a late first-round pick.
Maxime Renault, 48 games played, 30 started, 10 points, 6.6 rebounds a night, and from behind the three-point line as a shooter. Right now, not good because he only takes one a game, so he's at 27%. But he's scoring and rebounding for you in some backup minutes where he gives you about 20. I'll say this one, too, and then we'll go to break for our next question. You guys, we watched games together here during the tournament because we were already in tank mode, so we would watch a lot of Auburn. They made a deep run. I can tell you this. Talking to these guys here in the studio in Bree, we would all talk about it. Janai Broome was a fantastic college player. Yes. You cannot deny his resume. I liked Dylan Cardwell better as a center in the NBA if he got an opportunity. And he's got an opportunity. Standard contract, undrafted. But you know what he's done? He's
almost
played pretty
8
well.
rebounds a game, Devon, in 20 minutes.
5 points in 20 minutes. 8 rebounds a game. And the numbers that he's putting up, he's getting like 15 boards in these games. Mm-hmm. And look, they're tanking. They're doing all the stuff that they do. But 5 and 8, where he's just 10, 11, 14. This month, he's averaging 10 boards, 10, 11, 11, 14, 11. He's already had a 13-point rebounding night as well. Just saying.
Oh,
you know.
I mean, 5 and 8. Janai Broome's up to 10 and 16. I mean, that's totals on the season, but still.
Yeah, exactly. So,
not per game, but,
There's that. All
tomato,
right.
tomato.
We take our break. We come back. We have 3 more questions and news and notes. We're hanging out with you. Start of the All-Star break for the Sixers. Good record. Still some questions. We're breaking it all down right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Guys, everybody's got their favorite hard tea. Maybe you're just trying to get through a late night Sixers game. You're going out on the town, whatever it might be. You know what you're turning to. But have you ever turned the can around to read what's in it? You can't because they won't tell you while they hide what's inside. Crooked Tea is bragging about what they're giving you, which is real USDA organic tea from our friends at Crooked Tea. That means there's real flavor with 0 sugar. There is no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. So the next time you're at the store, you're out on the town, I need you to flip the can. And if you can't find the ingredients, put it back. Grab a Crooked Tea with 0 sugar, real tea, fully transparent. You know it, Philly. Real recognizes real. You don't need to drink the fake stuff when you have Crooked Tea right there in your hand, available everywhere. Crooked Tea. The only thing better is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find it in a store near you.
All right, team. What kind of dreams did you have when you were growing up as a kid? What did you want to be? What were your goals there? A lot of you had that entrepreneurship bone in you where you wanted to start your own business. Well, if that's the case and you're thinking about it right now, you're thinking about starting your own business, Shopify is the place for you. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Shopify even powers the PHLY merch store here at the PHLY network. Shopify has got you covered with the website creation, product descriptions, email, and social media marketing as well. Much, much more. They also have AI design tools to help you maximize your sales. So turn your business, your big business, into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. Back on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Make sure you Hit the like button, everybody. Like and subscribe to the show. Leave a comment. As always, it's the All-Star break. You have a lot of things to say. Jump on in there, allphly.com. Sign up to become a diehard member. Hang out with us. Eagles coverage, Phillies, Flyers also on the break. And then you have the baseball team getting started and dropping one of their key players.
Free Castellanos.
Get out.
Key is doing it's a little bit of a stretch there. Highly paid players. We'll go with that.
I thought this was America, damn it. You can't have a beer in the dugout.
For those that missed it, the Phillies officially they waived him, right? That's what they officially termed it as, Kyle? They waived?
Yeah, I think they released, waived, whatever.
They let go of Nick Castellanos. He is no longer, you don't have to worry about it, everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Swinging at the...
I don't care that he drank in the clubhouse.
Okay,
I care
as
that
long
he
as you're on
sucks.
the... Look, I don't... Listen, you know my level
Paid $80 million for 1.3 WAR over 4 years.
You know my level of baseball interest, but anytime I see someone put out a statement that they got in trouble for drinking El Presidente, I am reflexively going to take their side.
I've made this comparison in the past, but he is the baseball version of Kelly Oubre if Kelly Oubre didn't play defense.
All right.
Swing
And paid $20 million a year.
Swing and a miss. He had some big playoff moments, but then he drove you crazy when they weren't winning. All right, let's get to the next question. Let's go to the guard. Should they sign a fourth guard to add to the depth of this basketball team?
You're just triggering Kyle.
Here's the thing. At this point, I'm like, I might have to soften my stance watching these guys play.
All right, we're just one guy. Forget about Lonzo Ball real quick, because bookbag_Timu in the chat says, are we eligible for Malik Beasley? We didn't talk about him.
I think everybody is eligible for Malik Beasley.
Right.
I think the problem is whether the
gotta be
commissioner of the
eligible.
NBA is going to greenlight you signing him.
Yes.
That part is unclear because I think there's ongoing investigations. And
Yep.
he was cleared in at least one, but there's another outstanding. So
We're 50-plus games in. He's probably out for the year.
So Bookbag and anyone else who's been interested in this topic, what I would say is I don't know for sure that it's impossible that he could be signed, but I think to get to this point in the year without him being signed indicates that there's probably an understanding around the league. Hey, stay away for right now. Whether that should be the case, I can't tell you. Like, I don't know the inner workings of this case and investigation enough to be like, boy, he should or he shouldn't be in the league. So I leave that to the people who know better. If he was able to be signed,
his shooting would be helpful.
I know all the downside. I know all the issues with this particular player on every front. I still I'd be at the front of the line personally because I would take anybody on this team. Well, almost anybody on this team that would hit threes on a consistent basis.
Okay.
Like that is a skill that they do not really have. Like Quentin Grimes is supposed to be one of your best bench shooters, and he's been horrible there for quite a while now after that hot stretch to start the season. So, yes, I would be interested, but it's beyond that. It's beyond whatever Sixers interest there is, his interest in coming here. It's a matter to be settled by other parties, I think.
Yeah.
All right, the guards that we did discuss the other day, Lonzo Ball being one of them. We've all agreed that no, but have you softened your stance for, a game after a game like that last night?
Yeah, I don't want to overreact too much to two games where they had so many guys out that are important to the team. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, they got 17 or 18 games left to no Paul George, where their creative talent off the bench is minimal. And I know that Watford is a secondary playmaker, but I like him a lot more as a short roll secondary guy rather than someone who's going to get you into sets, run pick and rolls, et cetera, et cetera. I'd like him as a mismatch hunter too in the post. So I'm not a firm yes, but I'm open to the possibility because they got to get to the end of this. I don't care about a fourth guard for the playoffs. If you have to play this guy in the playoffs, you are screwed regardless. But to get to Paul George's return, I could certainly see the argument that they should bring somebody else in.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the just get the most reliable player you can mode, whether that's a guard, whether it's a wing, whether that's even a big man, because as we let off the show or at the second block of the show, Your big men aren't really reliable at this point anyway. I do think ball handling, passing, shooting, decision-making, you want as much of that as you can get. And they're certainly deficient in those areas. And you do, like, even if you don't think whoever you're going to sign can play in the playoffs, you need to get the Paul George coming back without completely tanking your, your positioning. And it is going to be a slog some nights. So yeah, I think if the best player is a guard, absolutely go get it. But I'm not going to pick someone that I don't think can actually help you just because they happen to be short.
What about
kind of where I'm at?
What about the Cole Anthony part that we talked about late?
No, I mean, if you missed the show the other day, like,
and that was at the end of the show,
top
everybody.
Of yep.
So go ahead, Cole Anthony.
Yep, sure. Even though I don't know if he can play next to Maxey in the playoffs, at the very least, he'll give you 10, 15 minutes per game while Maxey sits. Maybe prevent some of the urge from Nurse of overplaying Maxey. Give you some defensive effort and a little bit of pick and roll creativity. So sure.
Yep, and the Suns haven't officially released him as of yet. He was part of the deal from Milwaukee and Phoenix with Nick Richards. Haven't released him yet, but all the reports are that they are going to do so. And as the guys pointed out the other day, March 1st is the deadline to sign a player to be eligible for a playoff run.
Deadline for the player to be released for them to be eligible. It doesn't matter when you sign, because remember a couple of years back, well, not a couple of years back, a little while ago now, Greg Monroe was signed like March 20-something and ended up playing.
Right.
It was not a good
And the Cam Thomas hype is out there too
stint.
because he's dropped 34 and people going nuts.
Where would you rank Greg Monroe in the Joel Embiid backup center?
And he had like one good game.
In the playoffs, too. Like, that's the thing. How many Sixers backup centers to Joel have had a good playoff game?
And that's like a single game?
That's why I understood where when Brown had him in the game against the Raptors, I understood it because he had just had a good game and you're feeling like that's going to maybe transition, but he left him out there a little bit too long.
And his other option was like
Boban was right.
Boban and like was Bolden on that team. I just remember Bolden against the Nets in the first round. He was out there for like legitimately like a minute and a half. He made 3 mistakes in like a minute and a half. And that hook Brett had was so forceful. I don't think he saw the
Brett Brown
floor
vindicated on that one, by the way.
Yeah. All right. So we're in on a guard. Just bring in a good guard. Anybody who can handle the basketball, do some things over the next 18 games till Paul George gets back.
I would add once again, though, if the choice is between a guard and a taller person who can shoot, give me the taller person who can shoot, because I think they can help now and I think they can help later.
All right, let's talk some defense on the other side. Final break, 2 more questions, defensive scheme, and something else that I see a few of you discussing there in the chat. We'll get to those and our news and notes here on this Thursday, first day after the All-Star, after the break for the Sixers, heading into the All-Star break for these guys. And we have 2 more questions. We'll do all of that, finishing off the show with you right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Guys, we all know the feeling. You walk into a jewelry store, you're trying to pick something out special for your partner. Suddenly you find yourself in over your head. You're thinking, what's the difference between all these diamonds? What if they don't like this gift that I'm spending all this time on? It can be very stressful. That's why working with Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design has been such a game changer for us here at PHLY. From the moment that you walk in, they treat you like family. There's no pressure, no pushy sales vibe. It's just people who actually listen. Imagine that. Such a rare concept these days, unfortunately. They help you figure out exactly what your partner will love, and they design things completely custom, in-house. Great service from the team over at Bucci's. And right now, gold prices are over $5,000 an ounce. So if you got old jewelry sitting around, Bucci's can help you sell it for cash, refurbish old pieces, or turn it into something brand new. 30-plus years in the game. Philly's #1 jeweler, over 5,000 5-star reviews. So whether you're buying new or turning old gold into something special, visit Bucci's Jewelry and Design at BucciJewelers.com. Tell them the guys at PHLY sent you.
And guys, next up, we want to tell you about Xfinity, specifically their 5-year price guarantee. Because what if you could have reliable, intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And Wi-Fi that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. There's no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and this Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, the Sixers will go through 3 or 4 coaches. But your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
Final segment, PHLY Sixers podcast on this Thursday. Let's get to the last two questions, the super chat as well, and our news and notes. All right, let's get to the next question. Defensively, should the Sixers, Kyle, adjust their defensive scheme as we get back for the second half of the season?
I think this one's an easy yes. That doesn't mean you have to make a dramatic change. I think there has to be a realization that with no Paul George, with Joel being a little spotty here with the knee, that the aggressive help defense they're playing right now is not suited to the personnel that they have available. And with the benefit of the All-Star break, not like they're not going to be getting practices in. I think they'll probably come back like next Wednesday and have one, and that'll be it. But I think it's a time to sit, reflect, and say what we want to do when we're whole and we have everybody available and we feel like we can play a certain style might not be the way that we get to March 25th without Paul. And Paul is a super important part of making this scheme work with this team because he's a really smart defender in terms of when he times his help, when he's going to gamble and try to go for a steal, his ability to recover, the willingness to make extra efforts. And when you have him out there and he sets the example he does, other guys also follow. And that's not to say that Paul is like this perfect defender who has never struggled or never had issues this year within this scheme. But I think you can see a huge, huge difference when he's available and then what they're doing and how they're playing with him out. So I would say for right now, I personally would change the help schemes a little bit. I would stop playing as much trap and recover as they're playing right now because I don't think they're executing that all that well right now. And I would probably try to play more consistent drop. And I know that there are, against big-time pull-up shot makers, there are issues there that you have to deal with. But I think that's the reality that they're living in right now. Just roll with it. Get through 15, 20-ish games, and then you have another option on the table for the full team, and you can tinker between different styles. But I think at least some small tweaks need to be made before George is back in late March.
It's funny. If you just look at the personnel on the floor and like their physical attributes, especially with that starting lineup last night, they should be able to play this scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Like Barlow, Bona, Oubre, VJ, you should be able to help and recover. The problem with that is it relies so much on decision-making and quickness and instincts and, learning the tricks of the trade throughout the years. And so many of the defenders are either young and inexperienced or just have too many mental lapses to make this work. Or in Bona's case, both. And, I do think it is, like I said, on the one hand, physical attributes, they have guys who should be able to cover ground, and that's what Nick Nurse needs. But it relies so much on just timing and decision-making and like I said, making quick, accurate decisions that they're just not doing right now. So I think you have to simplify it a little bit. And then when you start going to the bench, everything becomes a complete catastrophe because a lot of them don't have the physical attributes that you need for Nurse's scheme. So, yeah, I agree with Kyle. Maybe that means switching a little bit more. Like last night, I think was the primary one where like that might be a switch game.
Yeah.
Because with Towns, he has Bona pulled so far away from the rim, you can't really do anything. Like they tried a bunch of times trapping and having Tyrese as a low man, and he's just like, it's Karl Anthony Towns. What am I going to do? You have to have somebody who can at least stand him up long enough for the help to get back, and Tyrese just couldn't. In that one, you probably don't want to play drop last night. Brunson's going to hurt you. Switch. And one thing with Bona, look, and Kyle brought this up earlier, you ask him to switch too much, he could have fell out in like 7 minutes. Mm-hmm. But I do think he showed last night at the beginning of the game, I thought he struggled with Towns on the perimeter. And then, not in the second half, but like in the second quarter, I thought he had a couple moments where he at least moved his feet and stood him up and showed that he at least physically can do it. Now, can he do that without fouling? We'll see. But I do think you have to mix it up a little bit more because, quite frankly, even if you had the athletes to make it work, eventually teams are just going to learn how to get the shots they want against your base defense. And I think they sit in it a little too much.
I'll just add, just to get away from that part, it's not a scheme, it's more a principle. Still have to improve their transition defense.
Yep. It's
second half of the
100%.
season. So that's just another piece that is an extension of the defense overall after a miss on your end and getting back to make sure you stop from some of those baskets.
And I would say some of that too, Devon, it's not all of it. It's not close to all of it, but there's always a battle between how hard do you sell out for offensive rebounds and how many guys get back. And so with Adem's rebounding strength is on the offensive glass. So he's going to be there. We know VJ is going to be a guy who attacks the offensive glass. There are certain guys on the team. Barlow is another one. So there's a risk reward there. The reward, if you get one, is second chance points, threes off of those Barlow offensive rebounds and kickouts to open shooters, things like that. But if you crash and you have 2 or 3 guys that go, and all of a sudden it's a 2-man back situation. Mm-hmm. If the opponent gets it and is running, you have very little chance to put together a good transition defense possession. So there's a little bit of that, but I think most of it is just like they are sloppy in their execution. That's and they are not. It's bad communication, bad on principles, like stop the ball, right? The very basic stuff that we all learned when you're first playing basketball. First thing you do, stop the ball and figure everything else out. They don't execute well even on that basic stuff.
I even say first it's man back, you get back. That's it. You're at the 3-point line. You're the one that gets back no matter what position you are, you get back. It's not always going to be a guard. Number 2, stop man at the free throw line. And we know that it's different now. It's not just stop at the free throw line because you want to prevent a layup. Now everybody's spraying around, finding their spots around the 3-point line. The communication has to be there, especially with that second and third man getting back there in transition to try to slow things down to prevent that odd man that you do have on the defensive end. All right, let's get to our final question. And this is about, a lot of people want to know about this one, man. Kyle. All right, Bree, let's run it. Where's the trust level with Nurse and Morey for the Sixers to be a legitimate contending team going forward this season and depending on what happens, of course, this year going into next. But for right now, Kyle, 28 games left. Finger pointing is still there. Obviously, with the trade deadline just finishing up, that's Daryl Morey. And then the issues that are still remaining on the floor, even with the 30-24 record, Nurse gets a lot of questions thrown at him.
I think the ingredients are there when this group is fully healthy. And I think this is a team that, if they are whole going into the playoffs, has a real chance depending on seeding and matchups. And another big wild card is like, what does Jason Tatum look like if and when he comes back? How does that impact Boston's ceiling, all that? I think they have a chance, but I wish I felt better about the whole structure right now. I was surprised that Daryl was as honest as he was at that press conference about the Jared stuff instead of deflecting with some more PR questions. And I would expand this to the Josh Harris component too, where it's like we've been through so many of these deadlines in a row where they're under the tax and there's reasons that they're under the tax and we get the explanations, but it is what it is. Again, the perception becomes the reality, even if it is just perception. When guys in that locker room feel it to the point that Joel Embiid before the deadline is saying, I hope we do something other than duck the tax, and you duck the tax and have no incoming players, and Jose Alvarado walks into your building and hits 8 threes, I don't know what else people are supposed to think. So I would say some of this is going to be judged on what does Nick Nurse do between now and Paul George's return? How do you change the rotation? How do you adjust your coverages and your schemes and things to suit the personnel and suit the moment to get there? But like anybody whose confidence is low right now, I get it. Like it's hard to come off of the 2 games they just finished the pre-All-Star break period of the schedule with and be like, man, I'm jazzed up about what these guys have cooking right now.
And real fast, the Morey other comment that Morey made that stood out for a lot of people is not thinking that the other teams in the Eastern Conference did anything that they're really worried about, but fans watch and see. Number one, picking up the players, whether the Sixers liked them or not, fans liked those players and felt those players could help the Sixers for the remainder of the year. Alvarado comes in and does what he does. James Harden is James Harden.
I would say on the Harden one, I think Daryl believes that was an upgrade for Cleveland, but I think given the recent mutual history is trying to stay away from that subject.
Also, it's not like acquiring Harden was an option for Daryl Morey. Like that was not.
Yeah.
But it's just a comment overall.
Yeah.
And then you have Vucevic in Boston doing whatever he's doing to help out with Kata in the front court, et cetera. That really stung a lot of fans when he said that, because they're fans, they have eyes, they feel like they know the game, which they do, and they didn't like that comment overall.
I just can't believe Kyle stole my ducking the tax bit. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Pivot to like pop culture
Well,
references?
and by the way,
like we've all got our lanes.
Schoolboy Super Chat was specific to ducking the tax, by the way. He said, Josh is here to trigger Derek to put $1 in the jar. So there you go. Where's the jar?
It was funny. I had somebody on Twitter being like, why don't you ever hold ownership accountable? I'm like, we literally have a jar that we keep on a desk for every show that we can put money in every time I say duck the tax. No, I mean, look.
Also, are we supposed to hold billionaires accountable? What is the mechanism?
That is not the world we live in. I don't know.
We can do that as Sixers reporters.
I don't know what America you live in, but holding billionaires accountable is definitely above our pay grade. And I joke. Obviously, we
hold them accountable in the sense that we talk about it and vocalize these things. But our ability to change Josh Harris's ownership of the team, zero.
He does not consult me on whether they should pay the luxury tax. Newsflash. No, I mean, look, it's one thing we could sit here and talk about the culpability of each of those three. But if I'm going to, and maybe some people will think there's a different level of culpability for each one. Maybe we on the panel would have arguments over who's most culpable. In terms of like telling you should have, like, it's one thing to be, he's not fully to blame. And I think you can make a case for all of them that they're not fully to blame. It's another thing for me to tell you to have faith in them. I can't tell you to have faith in them. Like, first of all, they haven't won here. They haven't done a great job here, especially of late. And they've left you with moves that are frustrating. Like, it is the way that they earn your trust is to win. That's all they can do. And quite frankly, like, Daryl has nothing left to do outside of a buyout guy. Like, there's his job for the season is done, for better or worse. It comes down to Nurse and whether or not they can figure out a way to make this group work.
Yep.
I can't tell you to have confidence in it, though.
Yep. One guard that we missed, that potential buyout from Dallas, Darius asks, mentioned Cole Anthony, which we discussed. He also asks about D'Angelo Russell, if he is in fact bought out by the Dallas Mavericks. Just on his face, I'm a no, but because that team,
you don't like looking at his face.
Well, you know that part too. Yeah, but no. I mean, he does the things that we asked for, which is, can he dribble? Yes. Can he run the team? Yes. I haven't seen him play a lot this year, and they decided, Jason Kidd, I'm just going to give Cooper Flagg the ball, and then Nembhard takes over. Williams gets a lot of those backup minutes. D'Angelo Russell's not in the picture, so when he played early on, he didn't look good. I don't know why. I guess that's why he's not playing, because he hasn't looked good, and they wanted to put the ball in the hands of those young guys. Do you have any interest, Derek, in D'Angelo Russell, if he is one?
Talk about a locker room vibe killer.
It's tough. It really is.
Talent-wise, he's probably about as good as you're going to do on the buyout market. I would have to talk to some of the teams he's played for recently, because he does seem like quite the vibe killer.
We would have to check.
The defense is horrible. Like the last 2 years, he's fallen off a cliff. He doesn't shoot like he used to. I think there's a lot of red flags there.
I think about it. But I'm with
because
Derek.
The buyout market sucks.
That's very much an intel based. I'll think about it, because I think he's probably better skill set for skill set than some of these other guys. But whether you want him on the team is a different proposition.
J-Dub says yes.
Look,
Andrew Sharp, D-Lo. And, of course, then we can bring back the Sam Hinkie photo from when he was scouting him at Ohio
that's a
State.
classic.
Classic.
But he was scouting Markelle, right?
Maybe.
Wasn't he
Ohio
looking
State
past? I thought that was a Washington.
It was a Washington, Ohio State?
No, that's when he was looking at. Everyone thought I'm confused. Everyone thought, we're going to overtime. Do your thing.
You got it.
No, you got it. We're going to
overtime.
overtime.
If you're watching on Fast, go to allphly.com.
Thank you, everybody on Fast.
We only had a couple
See you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
I think the photo I'm thinking of is he was looking at Markelle, but there was actually Thibault behind them, and I think he was actually looking at Thibault. I think I got my prospects confused.
Well, the photo was taken perfectly because the way he was looking at D'Angelo Russell is an all-timer.
I mean, they thought they were getting him, which wouldn't have worked out, but I definitely thought they were getting him.
Might have ended up working out better based on. I don't know.
I mean, better than Okafor, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And if you're really looking for D'Angelo, I would caution you to go look at his stats from the last 2 years. 31.4% from three last year, 29.5% from three this year. He is not shooting the ball anymore.
Who was he? He was with Brooklyn last year and the Lakers?
Yeah. Brooklyn and then Dallas this year. Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Where are you at, Devon, on Morey and Nurse heading down the stretch here?
I agree that it falls mostly on Nurse because then it's just games played. There's no more moves outside of the buyout. So I don't know, because I think when they signed Nurse, I had more faith in Nurse than both of you. I have since wavered a little bit, but I also, especially when we talk about the third quarter, I would always say it is on the coach, but it's also on the players. I mean, the message, you can't believe that he's not doing his job and delivering a message in the locker room, and it's not working out overall. So, but Morey not getting anything done at the break after moving Jared McCain, we can talk about all the taxes and things of that nature. We also said, all right, it's the day before. We're going to reserve our judgment until we see if there's a corresponding move afterwards, which wasn't. That's a miss, especially when we see, while you may not have loved others, you left a gaping hole there. And then if you're talking about the backup big position and we bring up Jock Landale, a name like that could have at least helped you for the remainder of the year into the postseason, I have my issues with that as well. So it's going to fall more on Nurse, but if they lose and they lose early or get into the play-in and they lose in the play-in, both of them it's going to be an equal number of both of you have to go from the fan base, where they're going to be frustrated with Morey, you haven't done enough, and then Nurse, you've had enough runway here where you didn't do anything either, and now you have to go too. Let's start this whole thing over. And of course, Josh Harris, it's always sell the team for Josh Harris. That won't change either, because it's going to be another year where they did not win a championship.
And I will say, we talked about it on our deadline show, but I do think that in the sense, it's not necessarily bold to trade Jared McCain on its own, but in the situation they're in, where fans have been frustrated with this organization for a long time, where Jared is a well-liked player, was a well-liked player in the locker room as well, and he represents one piece of the hope in the future. It was a bold move from this front office to be like, I know we're going to take heat for this. I know that people aren't going to like it, and we're going to do it anyway. So I respect it on that front, but I also say, I hope that you're right, and you better hope that this is not a first-round exit.
Yep.
Jared McCain plays, because now you've put an even bigger target on your back when there are a lot of people watching this very closely saying, we don't want you in there in the first place. So I hope for everyone's sake that are making these decisions that they are correct, because if they're not, and if they do struggle in the playoffs and the lack of shooting is something that comes back to haunt them, there is not going to be a lot of friendly people around Philadelphia watching this basketball team.
Nope, not at all. New jobs for us from Zach. I'm the owner. I take over for Josh Harris. Derek, you're the general manager, so you take over for Daryl Morey. And Kyle, you're the head coach.
Oh, no, thank you.
And Bree is
you definitely got the most stressful job.
Bree is president of basketball operations, so she's got you there helping you guys
So wait,
out.
does that mean Bree's my boss?
Pretty much.
Because P-Bops is usually above GM.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Here's my first thing I would say.
Would you say, Bree?
If I was a good enough coach to do the ego management part of it, we would not have so many arguments in my family. So I cannot be the head coach. I could maybe be in a management role. No, thank you on the head coaching position. But thank you. I'm flattered for the offer.
You want to switch roles? I'll coach, you own?
I don't want to touch that one for what should be obvious reasons. I'm out. I'm still the media. I'll just report on my friends here who are in power positions with the team.
Well, thanks for the new job, Zach. We appreciate it. Those are 5 questions for the day. Don't go anywhere, everybody. No breaks. We're going right to our news and notes portion of the show, because there's still some basketball news that we need to talk about heading into the All-Star break. A lot of you have already talked about the New York Knicks, not just from last night in the win over the Sixers, but also a move that was made today. A free agent that we did not bring up, that's my mistake because we all saw reports, but I threw in 2 extras and I did not bring in Jeremy Sochan.
It wasn't clear at the time that he was going to get outright release. So
Yeah.
I give you some
Thank
leeway
you.
on that
I appreciate that. So Sochan is released by the San Antonio Spurs. According to Shams, 10, as many as 10 interested teams for him, and he immediately decides on the New York Knicks. So, Derek, your thoughts on, number 1, would you have had interest? And number 2, his addition to the Knicks?
Yeah, I mean, he probably would have been at the top of the list, but almost definitely would have been at the top of the list. He's an interesting guy because, like, early on in his career when they were trying to lose games, they gave him the ball a lot, and they're just like, learn on the fly. And I did think he grew, I almost said grew as a passer, grew as somebody that can be a hub. I just wish a shot ever came around, around even a little bit. It didn't. I think he's shooting in the high 20s this year from 3, shooting high 20s for his career from 3. But like compared to everything else that's out there, like I said, still pretty young, 22, 23. Like I said, grew as a playmaker, has a little bit of versatility in that regard. Yeah, I would have clearly taken a shot. And they just need players at that position and of that archetype too.
Also, just real fast.
Yeah.
It was questioned at the time. Give him the ball and let him grow. What as good as they do things, as great as they do things in San Antonio, maybe that wasn't the right thing for them to do with him in that environment.
It's the right thing when it leads to you getting Wemby, I think, is the real key there. I would say he's in my mind, he's a worse offense, better defense Watford. So your interest level in him is colored by how does that player sound to you as an end of the bench potential rotation option? To me, he's young enough and does enough things that there's some interest there. Now, Watford, to give him credit, is a better shooter, admittedly, on similarly low volume. So that's a real thing, and it gives him viability in this NBA and this style of NBA playoffs that Jeremy, frankly, might not have. But of the guys who are available, he would have been interesting. Now he's not available. He's going to New York. So good job by them.
Yep. Good job by him. He saw an opportunity there. Maybe that fits best for him as well. And he decided on the Knicks. So for him here, though, with the defensive part, you look at the Sixers and we all say they can score the basketball. Their issue is, we just talked about it, defensively they have their problems, and he might have helped the team out in that regard. One of the other ones has to do with All-Star Weekend, and to tick off Sixer fans once again, Joel Embiid is not playing in the All-Star game. Now, he missed the last 2 games. Maybe that factored in. They didn't even want to have to pick a third or another replacement, but De'Aaron Fox of the San Antonio Spurs is the now injury replacement for the USA team. And
they bumped Norm Powell for Jamaica, I think they said is where he's representing.
I think
if I remember correctly.
I have it here.
I believe it's Jamaica. If I'm wrong, then apologies to both Norm Powell and the nation of Jamaica on that one.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it is.
All right, I'm pulling it up right now. Miami Heat star Norm Powell, Jamaica, has been moved to the All-Star World Team. So I'm glad I did not insult the good people of Jamaica or Norm Powell.
Good call. But
so, yeah, De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox. What is
good player. He's averaging 19 points a game. Like, what are we doing?
And I said to you earlier, Derek was doing something else and Bree was getting stuff ready for the show. And I was like, I would have even just said Castle over him. Right? I would have said Castle, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's a participation trophy at this point. Like, he didn't.
Oh, wow. We're going full boomer mode.
He didn't play enough. Joel didn't play enough games, so he's not getting picked.
Well, here's the thing, too. You could have just said, you give Joel hey, we're giving you the honor. We know you're not playing because he missed the last 2 games. Just give it to him, and then, all right, now it's somebody else. Like, anyway. One of my many gripes with Adam Silver.
19-4-6 on the year. Castle 16-5-7. And Fox has played 1 more game than Castle. I would have just given it to Castle for all of that. If I'm looking at the Spurs, I would have just done that. But by the way, Jeremy Sochan, 28 games this year, 4 points on the season. Not total points, average.
Oh boy, 4 points. He's putting up Janai numbers.
Room numbers. 4-2-1 on the year for Jeremy Sochan, and you guys said it already, from behind the 3-point line. Not good. 26% from behind the 3-point line. All right, let's get to the non-basketball.
I was going to say, is this the final
version.
and most important
There's two.
news and note?
There's two.
There's
So
a second one.
We'll do yours last because you had one. Let's get to the next one. Valentine's Day is coming up, everybody, this weekend, right? Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, all the gang, all the couples out there. Enjoy your weekend and all. Of course, we'll be here tomorrow. We'll talk to you. But if you're not going out and you're single, Wendy's has a deal for you where you, as a single, can go to Wendy's. And the deal for you on
Sunday.
Singles Awareness Day is February 15th, and they're giving away cheeseburgers for $1.
I mean, what's the verification process on this? Because I feel like this is ripe for abuse.
If I show up with my significant other, are they saying no deal?
Yes.
Is that how it works?
I guess to hide your ring or something that you have to do, and she can't drive in the car with you when you go pick it up. Or you just got to go inside and go.
I'll put
an
an Uber sign on the dashboard and she can sit in the back seat.
So for all the singles out there, you get the $1 cheeseburgers at Wendy's on Singles Awareness Day, which is February 15th. There you have it. All right. Now, let's get to the other one that's here.
The king is almost back.
So you have a lot of these that you like when it comes to these specific, holidays and
holiday
and all.
themed
so
treats, we'll call them.
let's call it the treats. So the new treat, that's a very famous treat, the Shamrock Shake. It's back.
We're back, baby. February 17th, the Shamrock Shake is back. I cannot wait.
I'm out.
And this is a very contentious debate because a lot of people are just out on mint desserts.
So that's my thing. Now look, I like the Girl Scout cookies that are
the Thin Mints.
The Thin Mints, which are fantastic. Normal mints, I'm fine. You guys know I keep a bunch of those. We always have those here in the office. Not a York peppermint patty guy, not the mint chocolate chip ice cream that I know you love. I love a milkshake, but I'm not. I've tried it, but I've never liked it.
See, I'm like kind of in the middle because like I'm not a peppermint patty guy at all. But there are some things like I am a mint ice cream guy, so I'm kind of all over the place. And the Shamrock, I wouldn't say I'm indifferent. I'm like more leaning towards Kyle's side, but I'm not certainly as strong on that side. Like it's something I will get because I haven't had it in a while, but it's not like if it stays, I'm gonna I need this once a week kind of thing. Like I'm not,
I will be having a few of these in the month that it is roughly available for. I love a promotional milkshake, like when they did that insane Grimace purple shake.
Yeah.
I'm in there day one to see what, and that was a classic. It tastes like purple moment. By the way, I love a Shamrock Shake. I said to you guys before the show, not only am I a mint chocolate chip ice cream guy, in my family, big tradition. Christmas Eve is my dad's side of the extended family get together historically, and we always had not mint chocolate chip, but the peppermint stick special edition ice cream around Christmas Eve. And my aunt, God rest her soul, used to make these like special garlic hard pretzels, and you'd eat both, and it was a sweet and salty combo with a little bit of mint in there. Absolutely love it. And now my wife has taken up the responsibility of it's hard to get that ice cream around Christmas. So she goes to like 15 different grocery stores to hunt it down. God bless her. Thank you, honey. So I love a mint dessert. Not all the time. Like I like all kinds of desserts. You guys know I'm a lemon meringue pie guy. I like a cheesecake. I'll do a tiramisu if I'm in the mood for that. I like sweets. That's the underlying theme here. But the Shamrock Shake is one of the GOATs. So we respect the legend in this household.
I respect the run that it's had. It has a long run, and it's not going anywhere. Bree, are you a Shamrock Shake?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a mint chip ice cream person.
Yeah.
So
I knew I liked you, Bree.
So put the Oreos in there. Yeah, I'm sold.
Where were we at when we got, it was the Bahamas. It was for training camp. Me and you, we sat by the water one day. I think Derek was doing something, and we got ice cream from one spot.
Oh, yeah. It was very good.
It was very good. And yes, you got
It's like an ice cream
Hold
gazebo
up, you guys got
down
ice
there.
cream without me?
You were doing something else.
You were doing something. I think you were writing the story.
Yeah, you were busy doing something.
Ain't no story that important. Come on now.
Hey, I don't know what to tell you.
So, yeah. We love sweets on the show. Mint chocolate chip.
Devon's out.
Colin Bree on that one. And
Two
Derek,
Americas.
and Derek is a yes. Leans more towards yes on that one. Some funny ones here in the chat though, because
But it's not like you guys talking about Girl Scout cookies. Like a peanut butter is gonna. I'm leaning. Like mint will never be my preferred Girl
I'm
Scout
a caramel
cookie.
delight
Never,
guy.
never.
It's my
Thin Mint is number one for me. Yeah, and that's funny because Thin Mint is
Yeah.
the first one I would go to for sure. So Twan says mint is only good for tea or toothpaste. That one. Remo K says mint chocolate chip is amazing.
I've seen some of you
Somebody
people
said gold
eat
standard.
pineapple on pizza. I don't want to hear it.
All right, so that's our news and notes. We always like to have fun with that. Some basketball related stories, some sports stories, but also we go around the food world on the have to on the show to close out things with our news and notes. We always love to have fun with that one. We'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. And we have 3 p.m. shows next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Games on Thursday where the Sixers and the Hawks are back at it on the floor in South Philly. So a home game to start off the second half of the season for the Sixers. It's always, again, funny to say that when they're 54 games into the year, well past the half.
We got to figure out a different
What did you say
nomenclature
last night?
for that.
For the tweet that you sent out for the pregame show, not necessarily the second half of the season, but something you said. Yeah. So we'll do that for the remainder of the year for the final 28 games of the season.
Wait, hold on. Eugene said, "How long until a Baja Blast milkshake?"
Would you?
I
drink
don't
that?
know, Eugene, but I will be there day one.
I don't know about
Day one. Listen. That's not a. I think it'll be good. That's a morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
But see,
moment.
that's why it's perfect for the slushy. It's a slushy
Yeah.
more than it is a milkshake.
I'm with Kyle though. Just pure curiosity. I would
Yeah,
try
you
that in
got
a
it.
second.
But see, that's where these guys are great because I'm simply, I'm not trying that.
Devon is not as adventurous an eater, which is putting it lightly. Because I've gone to some foreign countries where I ate
You have
in
no idea
places
what
and
that
tried
is.
cuisines that Devon wouldn't even be caught in the same zip code as some
You
of these
try having
things.
Chinese food in China. Ooh, boy, is it different.
One of my homies played overseas and he was like, Chinese food over there?
Yeah, it's very different.
Very different. Very different. And so find me a steak. All right, let's get to the world famous. It's the roll call.
All right, everybody. Thank you
Bring
for
us
being
some
here.
milkshakes, y'all.
I need all my Shamrock Shake people. I'm giving you the most love today on the show. But even if you're not, we're happy you're
Vanilla
here.
milkshake.
Happy to have. I love a vanilla
Strawberry.
milkshake. Black and white, strawberry, chocolate. Milkshakes are good. That's the underlying theme here.
No chocolate.
I'm about to go get a milkshake right after this. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. Thank you to Black Moses, Eugene Ross. Look at that. Julia.
Jules.
PHLY with the wrench next to her name saying Baja Blast Slushy. That's right, Julia. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Vince Pellegrini,
Vinny.
to Darius, to
What
the
up,
court
Darius?
jester, Remo K, Greeny Green, Price Adams, Black Moses,
Adams.
Bookbag, who is the number one Malik
Yes.
Beasley fan and all of PHLY YouTube. Thank you to
Bring in the
Bookbag.
bees.
Win Forever, Between and Unseen. I always love that name. It's always a great one.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you to Schoolboy for the super chat today. Thank you, Schoolboy, for always showing up for us. Thank you to Freddie Powell, Mellow 3 Point, Aunt Cole,
What up, Ant?
Jorge, the legendary Jorge in the chat.
Legendary
Thank you
Jorge.
to Kyle Wright, Sean
Happy
Sharp, Marty
Valentine's
Bones.
Day, Jorge.
Yes, sir.
Take your shot.
SB Cole, Zach Blaine, J Dub, Mr. Midrange, Andrew Sharp, Deck
Wayne
Inc.,
Gretzky and
PHLY
Shadows.
guy.
PHLY guy.
Thank you to Mom's grandchildren. What's up to Mom? Aaron, Mac Tuman, Seamus,
Seamus in the chat.
D Flyers, Tim Bunk 2, Daniel, veteran of the Psychic Wars, Jay the Jungle,
Jay, what
Val,
up?
Jess, my girl Nona,
Hey, ladies.
Jazz, X-Man, Theo, Marcus Blackstock,
Hey, Jazz.
Scott, music lover, Rick Morse, Drew, 2108, who started the show off with Sell the Team. Hashtag Sell the Team.
What up, Drew?
Thank you to WR Ferguson, Arizona Ron. Thank you to all our wonderful people who show up for us each and every day.
You haven't done it. You missed it.
Who'd I
He's in
miss?
there. He's in there.
Darkness!
Turn down the lights for Nick Castellanos. Drinking beer in the locker room.
I will be drinking an El
the
Presidente
clubhouse.
in his honor. That's one of my...
I will swing at a miss and a slider.
when I'm on vacation, this is free promo because if I'm in the Caribbean, I am drinking El Presidentes. You can get them almost anywhere. That is a good standard beer when you're down there, the Dominican, the Virgin Islands, wherever it might be. El Presidente is there. Nick Castellanos is
Have
there
one for
too.
Nick.
I'll pour one out for the homie Nick Castellanos today. Thank you everyone for being here. On the way out, hit the thumbs up button because it helps us out a lot. And it's a thank you to super producer Bree when you spend 1 second of your time to hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. We'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Again, 2 days in a row, a 3 p.m. show. Imagine that. Until then, stay safe. Take care of one another. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.